All right, guys, I think we are live. Yep, we're on. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. I hope your Thanksgiving was well spent with family, friends, and I hope that it was safe. Um, we're doing these morning motivations, and we have transitioned from starting over to being a new you and what that looks like. Now, our starting text has been Genesis chapter 1. Now, we're looking at it from a different perspective. We're not trying to go deep into some of the philosophical understandings of what it is. It's really more of an overview of how we can apply just some of these principles to what it looks like, how God created the world, and to some of the things that looks like how He, can create us over again. All right. So that's what we're going to be dealing with, guys. Now, the reason why I say that is because we're dealing with a very interesting one today. So remember, the first day we dealt with the void, right? God is the one that created the void. He created all of the elements of heaven, all of the elements of earth. It was chaos. Before cosmos, there was chaos. Remember, cosmos means order. Chaos is disorder, right? Chaos is messiness, but it was perfect messiness. So he created the formlessness and the void in the elements that he had established already. It just didn't have any shape yet, right? And then the next day, we talked about God creating light. Now, he didn't immediately deal with the messiness. So you're starting over, right? You're now deciding to be a new person, to reinvent yourself, but everything is still not in its proper place just yet. Everything doesn't feel as if it's solid. That's okay. The very first thing that he does after he creates the void, the darkness, is he establishes light and he separates darkness from light. Now, we looked at this idea that the visible light, sun, moon, stars, those things weren't created until day 4. So what on earth was this light? So we put up the diagram of the different kinds of light. There's visible light, there's gamma ray light, there's ultraviolet light. There's so many different spectrums. So perhaps what we are thinking as we're going through this process in the beginning of the separation between light and dark, perhaps that has nothing to do with us doing the separation. We're working this thing out together, guys. Perhaps it's not about us as much as it is there are things that he sees, that God himself sees, that is separating the light that we can't see from the darkness that we can't see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's separating that which is invisible from that which is visible. Not sure. But what I do know is that it's a different kind of light, guys. And I think that that's the trust. And when you're starting over, the light that he says, let there be, is not the kind of light that we see. That happens day 4, right? Okay. So we go from the void to the light, and then we talk about the vault. The vault is this now the scripture calls it heaven. In the Hebrew, though, it's like this sheet of metal. I wish I pulled it up again, but it's the sheet of metal. It separates like the heavenly kingdom, like, where heaven is, where God reigns, and then where we reside, where the sun, moon, stars, clouds, atmosphere, like where all of that resides. And so there's this barrier that's like just in between the two, and it separates them, and that's where we live, right? And so we talked about this idea of creating boundaries. So you separate the light from dark. Now, dark doesn't necessarily mean evil. And, just remember, we're not trying to philosophize this too much, but what we are saying is there is a separation that happens. And then we're looking at this boundary that's set between the earth, that which is the heavens of the heavens, and then the heavens that we know and see as of today. So now we're going to be looking at another layer of separation. So if you want to follow with me, you can, or you can just go ahead and listen as I read this part. So after he created the firmament, or the vault, right, that separation that divided the waters from the waters. And remember, waters in this sense is like the atmosphere, right? So earth has not been gathered yet, just yet. Atmosphere is also vapor, waters, atmosphere, all of that, right? So after he did that, then he says in verse 9, this is day 3 now, let the waters under the heavens, this is under the firmament, under the vault, be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas, and God saw that it was good. Okay, the reason why this is important, guys, is because now we're looking at a foundation that has been created. Everything was formless, right? Everything was void. He sheds light on that situation. He sheds light on the awareness, and that's what we're looking at too. Now, you want to start over, you got to be aware of some things, but he doesn't just throw everything away. He separates light from dark. Remember, dark isn't necessarily wrong. And then he goes in and he starts creating the boundaries, right, between the waters from the waters. And so we talk about setting boundaries for ourselves as well. And now he creates a foundation. The foundation was already there. All he did was just gather the waters together that's under the heavens, under the vault. He gathers them together and the foundation is there. So I want to submit to you that your foundation, especially for those of you who are starting over, your foundation is already sure. Your foundation already exists. Remember, he has already established everything for what the world needed and how it needed to be formed and how it needed to be shaped and filled and all of that. He already established all of that in verse 1. He didn't create the land in verse 9, what we were looking at. And that's why I believe verse 1 is not just a title. In the beginning, he created the heavens. No, he literally created all of the elements of heaven, all of the elements of earth, because now in verse 9, he just says, gather the waters and let the land appear. He didn't say, let there be land. He says, let's start separating yet again for the foundation that already exists to manifest itself. So you manifest your foundation by doing the separation work. Okay. Now, I have a great example of this. So a lot of people, especially those who really scale very quickly, particularly in businesses, when they have ideas, they don't start, you know how some of us, and I have fallen victim to this as well as a designer. You think about your business card, you think about your logo, like, you think about all of the things that are marketing material, all of the visual elements, all of the things that you think people are going to want to draw towards. You want to make sure that you get them to like the aesthetics of what you're trying to create. The people that are really successful, I'm talking about like serial entrepreneurs, individuals that have created businesses over and over again. They don't start off with all of that stuff. They start off very simple. They start off with a simple web page. They start off with just understanding the need that's necessary, the need that someone has. And literally, most of these web pages, guys, most of these websites are terrible, but they do the work, right? They do the AdWords from Google, searching for what are people searching for. Let's put that into the landing page. What are the necessary tasks to be done? Let's address those. And so they have all of these things in place so that when somebody visits the site, as terrible as it may look, it answers the problem, the foundation, right? The foundation of any business is you have to solve a problem. So they have the foundation there, as ugly as it might seem. The world isn't beautiful yet in verse 9 of Genesis. It's not filled with grass and birds, and that comes later. Right now, there's just a foundation that's being built. A lot of us will fall victim to trying to beautify everything first before really thinking about, okay, what are the core needs that people are looking for if I'm trying to establish something? If I'm trying to monetize something, if I'm really looking to create value for someone, what do they really want? That's the foundation we're looking at. So now you have to ask yourself that, not just for a business, but for yourself. What do you really want? What value do you need to bring to you? If you can't be valuable to you, then you're not going to be valuable to other people. And I know that sounds so simple, but that's really the truth. So God is collecting the seas, the waters together, and then the establishment that already existed reveals itself. I want to encourage you, because the foundation that you're looking for isn't that far. As a matter of fact, it's deep inside. It's already there. You just need someone to do the separating work, to reach deep down. You remember, we've only as oceanographers and explorers of just this world have only explored, is it maybe 5%? It's not a huge percentage, guys, like 5 to 10% of the world's oceans. We have yet to scratch the surface, literally, of what exists in the depths. So you need to find that person. That person is God. You need to find the individual. You need to connect with the one who already knows your foundation. He sees it and he's going to separate and gather everything in one place just so that it can be manifested. All right, guys. So be encouraged and know that you don't have to look far. It already exists. It's already there. And this is particularly for those of you that are trying to start over. It's already there. There are those that need to do the work, and you already have it. Okay, it's already there. He's already created it. Now all you need to do is to trust that he's going to separate and he is going to create or to reveal the foundation. All right. Now, in a practical way, what that means is that don't try to make everything pretty and don't try to do all the extra fancy stuff just yet. If in the business world it's not going to work, then in the interpersonal, communicative, and relational space, it's not going to work either. People want value, and the value usually comes from how you can help them solve an issue, relieve a pain, boost a benefit, reduce frustration. That's where the value comes in, guys. Do that for yourself first. Do the work. Allow the foundation to reveal itself, and then you can start building on top of that foundation. All right, guys, be encouraged. Have a great weekend coming up, and we'll see you in the next one.